In this next video, we're going to explain the tabs invoices, paid invoices, and expenses. Inside the project, at the top row, we have different tabs labeled invoices, paid invoices, and expenses. If we click on invoices, we're going to see a registry of all the invoices that we have made out to the different clients during this project. To create an invoice, we click on the far right, add invoice. We're going to give this invoice a specific date for when we are going to charge the client. For this example, we're going to use the 18th of November. We're going to give it an expiration date. We're going to assign it to a specific client. We're going to add the tax. Now, this tax bracket can be configured depending on the country. The platform in every country has a different tax bracket, so the taxes will be charged differently here. We can make this a reoccurring payment by clicking on this box. So we can make this a monthly payment or a bi-weekly payment if need be. We add some type of note, kind of a detail about the invoice. And we can give it a label if need be. We can also add labels down the road if we need to. We can add a photo of the invoice if need be as well by clicking on this bottom left corner. So once we create the invoice, this will pop up. This window will pop up, kind of the image of the invoice. And this is kind of like a rough draft at first. However, we can also modify it as well. So we're going to add an article to this invoice. When we add an article to this, we can create a new article inside the invoice. So in this one, we're going to do implementation number 3. It'll be in our description as well. Here is the amount of product or whatever. In this case, the implementation is only one thing. The type of unit is just one. And then here is the cost of. For this example, it'll be 500. Yeah. So now here's the first article within our invoice that we are charging our client. Again, we can always modify this if need be. We can change the number of units. We can change the quantity. We can change the type. So for this one, we're going to say it is a board, a whiteboard. Save. And then in the invoice, it'll appear implements number 3, the amount, and the cost. Then obviously the taxes will be charged depending on the different tax rate. It'll calculate it. Here we can add more articles. We can create new articles. So management of teams. We copy and paste that same into the description. Again, the quantity, the type of unit. So for this example, we're doing balls, and the cost of each. So in here, we're saying it is 50 balls at $10 gives us our total cost. And then again, taxes are calculated dependent on the tax bracket for each country. So this is how we can send the invoice to the different clients. We can put the status of unpaid, so that way when the client receives this, they can see that they have not completed this, they have not paid this invoice yet. We click on the far left to the projects tab. We can go back to the invoices tab inside of our project, and we can see this new invoice we have created, invoice number 3, and we see that it still has not been paid. On the paid tabs invoice, we have a few things we can look at, as well as in the expenses tab. This is kind of like to see where money is going, what is being used for. We can add expenses. We can add, if we create a new expense, we can add the date for it. We can add the category. By default, it goes into miscellaneous expense. We say the amount. Give it a title, mobility. The client, in this case, Empresa Deportiva, who we've been dealing with. The project name, Project 2021. The member creating the invoice, in this case, Mark Happy. The tax rate, and then we save. So this way we have the expense of what we're charging to client, along with the taxes. And this will give us, again, a registry. We can export this to an Excel sheet if need be. So what do we do if a client decides to pay through mail or email? In the client comment section, the client can leave us a comment letting us know that they paid for, in this example, paid for invoice number 3. We go back to the main platform inside the project on the general view, and we can see on the far right under activity that the client has left a note saying they've already paid for the invoice. Again, it is under the client comments tab, but then under the invoice, the client will go in and say they want to make a payment. They can click on the type, how they're going to make the payment, when they made the payment, the amount they paid. So in this example, they paid the full price. And then they can leave any notes or comments if need be. And they click save. Now, as you can see in the far top left corner of the invoice, it is changed from unpaid to paid. They can also do partial payments, and it'll be registered in the invoice as well. And once we have kind of confirmed the payment, we're going to go up to the tab that says actions, and we're going to say mark as paid. So it says cancel, but it should be saying that the debt's been canceled. So it should say paid. So once we click on that, we go inside and we're going to see back in the invoices tab. Underneath that tab, it's going to say invoice has been paid in the far right under status. So that goes hand in hand with the processes, with the plan of the different analysis, the different stages of the project. So as we are going through those different projects or different phases, that's when we will start to add these invoices and expenses and